queda clar el que es queda a fer i queda clar el que fan les empreses triomfadores amb aquest gran canvi del tema de la crisi a la situació posterior a la crisi. Llavors, el que crec que és molt important és, a més de veure el que fan les empreses excel·lents, veure com pensen les empreses excel·lents. En aquest moment, i nascut a la Universitat de Toronto, a Canadà, hi ha un moviment que crec que és molt interessant, que és el moviment del pensament integratiu. La Rudman School of Business de la Universitat de Toronto, aquest sistema de pensament integratiu l'ha trobat estudiant com els líders que tenen més èxit pensen les coses. Pensen les coses, intentaré ser breu, pensen les coses amb rellevància. La rellevància de les coses que no són rellevants, les companyies excel·lents les deixen córrer, van en el que és essencial.
Estem intentant construir una associació, per exemple, amb els països del sud i l'est del Mediterrani, que van en la mateixa direcció, però hi ha un lag en el temps que ofereix especialment oportunitats de treballar conjuntament a través d'aquest treball conjunt entre el nord i el sud del Mediterrani, entre Europa i els països del MENA region, doncs ajudar-los a incorporar-se el més ràpidament a aquesta nova onada, i això és beneficiós per ells i és beneficiós per nosaltres i per totes les empreses d'una part i altra de la Mediterrània. Aquest aspecte, diguem-ne, de com això es plasma d'una manera dinàmica i no uniforme en l'espai geogràfic global, aquesta fora una perspectiva que a nosaltres ens fora especialment interessant d'aprofundir-hi.
The world is slowly respecializing, and China has become the sort of fabric of the world. They're doing fabricated, assembled products. I think Latin America will have to specialize in raw materials-based industries, process industries, and I think Europe has to rethink itself and re-specialize also, so that the whole world, somehow there will be a division, a global division of production, which is going to be beneficial for all. And I think it can happen, it can be done, but you've got to think very well what it is that Europe and each country and each region can do to be complementary with all those. But yes, there is a geographic division of what will be produced and at what rhythm.
I want to say that so far my view is that Carlotta and Doug have been gentle. They've been kind to us. What I hear them saying is that we're part of the problem. If you see a historical process in which a crisis creates transformation and you have creative destruction and then you have new positive creation, and the inertia of the past limits the potential of the future, we're the limit. It's difficult to say what it means to change from command and control, from we're going to plan tomorrow so that we can make it better because we're going to take the best example and we're going to do just like them. That approach has been very, very successful. It's the IBM example where they had a very great success. That's Lou Gerstner's point. He said their greatest danger was success. Well, we've been very successful with administration, with command and control, with planning. But that great success has also blinded us to, I think, many of the things that Doug is talking about. The simultaneity, the things that happen together and that can't be predicted and that are creative and that are emergent. How can we embed that in our organizations?
Perhaps in Europe, and I see if you agree with this, that we have been somewhat denaturing our resilience as a people.
Yes. Yeah.
I think that the third in emerging economies are people who have endeavored generations of poverty and they become more resilient people. And therefore, what we see now is an emergence of certain home roots entrepreneurship, which I believe in the Catalan reality, we've always been very entrepreneurial people, but we have that somewhat deactivated. Why? Because in the early 80s, as a relatively new EU recipient of jobs and industries, we became workers for the big manufacturers. And we sort of deviated our look from creating job creation from a local standpoint. Therefore, the harnessing of the innovations that we've been creating here has been put on shall we say, on a standstill. What I do find is that the whole issue of innovation is a little bit of a state of mind, of a culture, a sense of purpose that perhaps until very recently we found that we have been, shall we say, not really tapping into it. We have been transferring that out to big corporations outside.
Beginning of that is the concept of sphere of influence. You need to change as a people, maybe so, but you can't change the people. You can change yourself, as the gentleman said, and then begin to enroll others in the process of change. If there are leaders throughout, it acts like yeast and it raises the whole as well as doing so. Beginning with sphere of influence, that's where the problem is. I should be taking the lead, not just somebody should be taking the lead. It's a big difference.
But it's also the power, it seems to me, of the identity that you have here. I mean, I think that was part of the point about the entrepreneurial and the past and this tremendous beauty and obvious aesthetic daring of this very city. You want to preserve that, but you can't preserve that by going back to the past. You have to preserve it in a new way because it has to be alive. Otherwise, you're just repeating the past and you're killing exactly what you're aiming to create. So the challenge here is really not a trivial challenge at all. It's a very profound challenge. But it's one that I think leans and depends on the uniqueness and the power of your identity here, which has always been a great strength, if I understand Catalonia correctly.